You're welcome back and many thanks for staying. Well, call it an examination of strategies. We just heard from Adekuka, regional chairman for the NDC. Now we're taking you into the camp of the NPP and we're bringing you an exclusive interview with Vice President-elect Dr. Bawumia. He's been speaking with Seth Kwame Boateng about, the question strategy that they used during the campaign and how he believes that it worked for them.
My training after school has been in banking and economics, and so I think that, and as an economist, when I finished my PhD, I was in teaching. I was teaching, so you have to explain relatively complex issues to students, and so that alone helps you. Helps to mold you a little bit. And so when I entered the world of politics, and I had to lecture also I had to break down things, because there's no point in speaking when the average person doesn't understand what you are talking about. So I tried to make sure that, and I will always try to make sure that the complex material that can bore anybody to death is simplified. So I think the background, the training in school and so on, the training after school and so on, all contributed to my ability to deliver lectures on material that most people will normally find boring. But in this case, people were interested in listening to what I had to say on the economy.
Why did you muster courage to throw a number of questions to answer? Where did you muster that courage from?
No, it wasn't a matter of courage. We were engaged in a debate. I had a lecture on the economy, and I think the other side said, all of these are lies. All what he's talking about are lies. And I was like, oh, really? Okay, then let me make it easy for you. And I'll give you, from my lecture, 170 statements, questions. Tell me which one is a lie, true or false, explain. You see what I mean? So I guess, gave him those 170 questions. And I hope he has left the answers in his handing over notes. But it was just an attempt to get a response, because you cannot respond to a lecture by saying they are all lies. That's not a response. So I wanted to make it a little easier by taking all the issues in the lecture and saying, respond to these and tell me whether they are true or not, and come out with your own facts and data to refute them.
So before accepting to partner on the line, the first one, the 2000, you mentioned that you knew with politics comes with insults. So when the insults started coming, how did you feel? And how did your family also feel?
I think my family probably, my mom, cannot take the insults. I think she doesn't react to them very, very well. But I think that initially it was a bit tough, to be quite frank with you, because I was never in the public eye. I was the technocrat doing my work in the background, and so I was never into the political business. And then suddenly I'm thrust in the political limelight, and then I become a target for anybody else, all serial callers and so on. Who
did you used to listen to them on radio or TV, or watch them on TV?
Basically, I try not to listen too much, because if there is a serious critique, I will read it. But if it's an insult or whatever, I'm not really going to spend time to be focusing on those things, because I don't want to be distracted. And so I try to stay focused. If you cannot respond to my argument with facts and figures and so on, and it's once I hear, I'm telling you that anytime I start hearing insults, then I know I have won the argument. Because if you have an argument, you will come with an argument. But if you don't have an argument, that's when you resort to insults. So anytime I give a statement or lecture or whatever, I'm like, okay, let's see if they come with facts or figures or insults. Once they start with the insults, I like, oh yeah, it looks like I made a point. They've not been able to respond.
When did you realize you become a full-blown politician?
I don't know if I have really realized that I've become a full-blown politician. I still think that I am more of a technocrat than a politician. Even though some people say that I've picked up the politics a bit since my green days of 2008, greenhorn days, when I came in, I didn't really know that much about the world of politics, but of course, over time, you understand the terrain a little bit better.
And when you listen to some analysts, they said you became a thorn in the flesh of the president. did you feel the same way?
I don't know. One
incompetent Muhammad every day.
Well, I think that of course, we critiqued him. We critiqued his policy. It wasn't his person, but it was more his government. And we wanted to make that point. It was just a simple point that if you've had this quantum of resources compared to what the MPP had, and you cannot pay the bills like they were used to pay, there must be something wrong. And so we put it down to incompetence. But somehow the president didn't quite react well to that term or that description of his government. And in my opinion, probably made things worse by reacting the way he did. It's like, you Bawumia, you've never been president, never been anywhere near the presidency, so you can't tell me I'm incompetent. And I think other people just took it on, and it became a little bit more lively in terms of discussion. Once they knew, it was something that he was irritated about, other people were continuing with that description. I was looking more at the economic performance of the government.
And looking at the margin, you won with over 1.5 million votes. It tells how convinced Ghanaians are that MPP can do the work. Expectations are rife.
Very.
Do you feel that burden?
I feel, definitely the responsibility. The burden is there. I mean, it's clear that expectations are high, and we have to live up to the expectations. I think we have walk the talk, as they say. So I think that we've got to get, roll up our sleeves and get to work, to delivering on the mandate that the people have given us. The people have the ultimate power. They have the power to put you there and to take you out if you are not delivering. And so we all have to be very cognizant of that and make sure that the vote, we understand this vote, this margin is really a vote for change. It's a vote against corruption. People want things done a bit differently. And we have to understand that and come in and roll up our sleeves and get to work. I believe that we can accomplish a lot. Nana Akufo-Addo is really a man of vision. He has a clear sense of where he wants to take Ghana. Many people do not know him. He really fights for the underdogs, for the poor. And he's a very simple man, actually. I really, really like him. If you get to know him, you will like him. Very, very humble person. He's come, yes, from a privileged background, but you wouldn't know it if you were around him. He's very, very down to earth. Very, very down to earth. And so he has a good sense of where he wants to take this country, fight for the underprivileged, make sure that everybody has an education. And this is why he's on about, free secondary school education, make sure that everybody has access to healthcare. This is why he's so committed to this, make sure that the development gets to everybody in the rural areas, and this is why we want to set aside $1 million equivalent for every constituency every year, so that the development gets to the ground, because you go to a lot of villages and they are not there.
Recently, Kofi Adam said Ghanaians will soon regret voting for the NPP because NPP may not be able to deliver on the promises they made.
Yeah, well, basically, the good thing is that Ghanaians regretted voting for the NDC and so voted them out because they couldn't deliver. And so that judgment is a judgment that Ghanaians would give in 2020. But for now, maybe it's just wishful thinking on his part. We have to come in and deliver and do the work. I think that Ghanaians will always be the best judges of our performance.
And Ghanaians will not accept excuses.
Oh, no, they will not accept excuses. I think that Ghanaians want to make sure that the promises that we made are by and large delivered.
Some of your childhood?
That is Vice President-elect Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia there with my colleague Seth Kwame Boateng talking about the strategy, whether or not it amounted to the party's victory. They believe it did.